recording. Sorry guys, first meeting of the day. There's bound to be a few technical difficulties here. I get to do this about once a year. I get really good at Zoom, and then it all kind of goes away. One more thing. Nice. All right, we're in. So if you're looking at this screen right now, you're getting a good glimpse of all the different things that we have going on at Team Summit. You're seeing a lot of different levels of snowboarding, some competition, kids in bibs, pipes, jumps. The only thing kind of missing here is some big mountain stuff. But we have in the snowboard program, we really are kind of a top to bottom deal. So our kids start out, with Intro to Team Summit. This is the program that meets 1 day a week on Saturdays. So if that doesn't sound like your program, you don't need to stay on this call. But this is the group that meets 1 day a week on Saturdays at a home mountain of your choice. This year we're running groups at Breckenridge and Copper. And that's pretty normal. We've had groups at Keystone in the past, but it for whatever reason, it just doesn't really fill out there. And the groups that ride at Breck and Copper tend to do pretty well and end up, having a lot of success as the years go by. But in the Team Summit snowboard program, we have these 1 day a week groups all the way up to we have kids in the Do Tour this year. And working on actually qualifying for the Olympics. So it really is kind of a top to bottom snowboard program. So just want to welcome everybody to Team Summit, and so happy that you guys have kids that are part of our snowboard program. It's very exciting to see, kind of a lot of new young faces, and I want to applaud you guys on getting your kids involved really quite early. There's a large crop of, kind of 6 to 8 year old snowboarders in the program this year. And it's truly exciting to see. It's so fun watching these kids grow up, and it might be one of my favorite parts. So someone's asking if there's a 201 presentation today. That would be the USASA presentation at 11. So that is not Intro to Team Summit snowboard. That is the USASA presentation at 11. We'll keep going here, but welcome to Team Summit. Next slide. So, if you're on the general presentation, CB talked about Team Summit's mission statement, and one of the key parts from Team Summit's mission statement is the innovative programming. So the snowboard program is part of that innovative programming, and as kind of our own little program here, we have a mission statement as well. We're a passionate community using proven processes to empower snowboarders to develop life skills and excellence in pursuit of their personal goals. So there's a lot of overlap between the two, which is ideal. And that first part of passionate community, like everyone on this call is part of that community, whether you ski or snowboard. And there's a lot of skiers in the organization. There's a lot of people who don't ski or snowboard at all, who are part of our passionate community, and contribute to our processes, our proven processes to help these kids achieve their personal goals. So, one of the important parts of that mission statement is our proven processes. That's our proven processes are kind of our secret sauce, and we are always refining our processes kind of year to year. And this last year, coming out of the COVID season, where a lot of things changed for us, we went over what had happened and what these changes are, and probably one of our more significant kind of overhauls of our process in years, for good reason. but for the most part, our proven process, the kids and athletes in general, they're creatures of habit, really, and a lot of good things come out of those habits when we develop the right habits. Every once in a while, you have to poke the process a little bit to create some change and get the desired results you want. But these are the things that we sort of stick to when we're talking about our proven processes. And in this program, the goal setting and the progressions and stuff are a little bit more coach driven than rider driven. As the kids get older, learn more about the contest, skills get higher. We put the goals, we put their progression in their hands, sometimes quite early on. And that's part of taking responsibility and learning about integrity for their training. And it's funny, one of the best goal setters and one of the best kids that probably takes the most responsibility for what he has going on is a 9-year-old snowboarder in one of our part-time programs. He will show up and he will have his plan laid out, and he's got things laid out all the way up to the 2030 Olympics, like he's thinking about it pretty hard already, but and he does it so naturally. It's really fun to watch. We have lots of different progressions, lots of different exercises that we all kind of use throughout the program, and you'll get some more information on that later. Down towards the bottom of this, positive talk and energy management, there's a lot of ways that you guys as parents can help your kids with some of those processes. And then the LTAD, that stands for long-term athlete development. So that's, how we structure a season and how we structure sort of a kid's time with us at Team Summit. And one of the interesting things that I tell people a lot is when a kid joins our Intro to Team Summit program, we actually have 5 years of snowboarding kind of laid out for them. And ideally, after that 5 years that we sort of have laid out for them, they start taking a lot more ownership over what they're doing. And we still assist in that process. And I guess it's more than assist, we're still guiding them heavily and doing a lot of these progressions and stuff. But we really do have a strong 5-year pathway sort of laid out for them. So here's all our different programs at Team Summit. So we are right here at the top. So Intro to Team Summit every Saturday for 15 weeks. The next step after this one is what we call Snowboard 101. That name will probably change to Snowboard Devo just to kind of better match what free ski and alpine have going on. It really is the exact same program, same price, same days, same idea. But we call it Snowboard 101 right now. So that is Saturday and 3 Sundays a month. They take one Sunday off every month just to catch some sleep or ride with their friends or hang out with family. Then when you get to 201 and 301, the only difference between those two programs is the age of the kids. It's the same program, just different age groups. So 201 is 13 and under, and 301 is 14 and over. And those programs, they start earlier and they end later. It's what we call our part-time competitive programs. They also have Fridays available. We pick some of these kids up from the middle school or the high school or the alternative school or the private school. We have kids at each one of those schools that we pick up on Fridays. We do either half day or some of the kids have no school on Fridays actually. And then the after kind of 201 is really the junior academy, or maybe the junior academy is sort of a supplement to 201 a little bit. But this is for kids aged 10 to 12 who are on the academy pathway. The academy doesn't start until 6th grade for us. So there are some 4th or 5th graders who are sort of ready to take that next step. And this program is somewhat designed for them. So they do 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. Right now, our academy program is doing 4 days a week of strength and conditioning. We're going to go on snow for the first time here on Tuesday, but we've been doing some serious strength and conditioning. The junior academy program joins in on that strength and conditioning on Fridays and Saturdays. So they're missing a few days of the week still so that they can be in school. And then our academy program is pretty much year round now. In the summer, we'll just say that they start in the summer, even though they're going year round. They'll start around May, and they do 9 to 11 hours of strength and conditioning. And we have our own strength coach, our own little private gym. We use the Woodward Barn facility quite a bit in the academy program. So they do 9 to 11 hours of conditioning all summer long. They do roughly 3, sometimes 4 weeks of summer camp. So we're going on snow most of the month of July and a little bit of August. Then, September hits, they'll take a couple weeks off of their strength and conditioning to get back in the flow of school. We start right back into strength and conditioning right after Labor Day. And we start off kind of doing that 8 hours a week. And then we, slowly sort of ramp it up from there. In October, we started the 4 days, which bumped us into like the 12, 13 hours a week. And then when the peak winter hits, it's 20, 25 hours a week. And it's not all on snow. It really is a very well-rounded program where they do, still doing some strength and conditioning, probably just like 2 hours a week of that. They're doing some time in the Woodward Barn. And then also some of the mental training and goal setting and video review stuff that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So that's just a look at the pathway. This is our LTAD. So we have these two groups. They will meet Copper and Breckenridge. The Copper group is going to meet at 9 a.m. in Center Village. This group, we're going to start the season off probably snowboarding from about 9 till 2:30. As the snow improves and the days get longer and the kids' skills get higher, we'll lengthen that out to a 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock day. Same thing at Breckenridge. Breckenridge is going to meet on Peak 9. There's like a parking lot. I think that building, the hotel across the street, used to be the DoubleTree. I'm not sure if it still is, but they meet on the snow side of that parking lot. So in between the Quicksilver chair and that parking lot on Peak 9 at 9 o'clock. And they'll go till 2:30 here to start, and later in the year, go till 3. Copper, we're saying Center Village right now. We used to meet behind the American Eagle chair in Center Village. That area is just getting somewhat crowded. So we're going to try and move that meeting spot to the climbing wall, which is sort of an out of the way location. If you're familiar with Copper, it's behind the Jack and Jill's building. So you would actually go like down the escalators and then out the doors, and you'd be at the climbing wall back there. So we're just looking for a little more room so that we're not so much in the way of like snowmobile traffic and when they have festivals or concerts going on, it's like really loud and crowded there. And it's just not a great place to make a handoff, to hand the kids off back to their parents sometimes, or take them from their parents sometimes. So we're looking at a little bit different meeting spot in Center Village. We've also got some things that we would like you guys to pack for your kids. I think every kid needs a little backpack with some lunch and snacks. Water bottles, fantastic. Extra sunscreen. And the extra layers are it could be extra pair of gloves, highly recommended. Some kids like 2 pairs of goggles, kind of a sunny day goggle and a low light goggle. The younger kids don't really seem to care about that much. It's not such a big deal for them. As well as if you need to put an extra hoodie in there, an extra long sleeve or something, that's great. We have spots that we store our bags on the mountain. There's a few different ones. We will store them in the park. It's actually a pretty popular thing to do and works really well. We haven't had any issues with that. And then there's also like a mid-mountain thing at the top of the Eagle, and we store our bags up there sometimes as well. And that's another nice place to eat for those kids. So we have a parking question closest to the drop-off location. there is short-term parking in Center Village by the bus stop. And that's pretty close to where we meet. That's probably the closest to where we meet. There you can get you can buy a copper parking pass. I'm not sure what the price on that is, but it's usually one of the better deals for the mountains. And there's I can't remember the name of that lot, but there's a lot almost right across the street from it. It's either Chapel or Beeler lot. They've changed their names recently on some of those. Other than that, Copper has a huge free parking lot called the Alpine lot. And there's a bus that brings you almost right to our meeting location there. Before we get started, I'll share a village map and kind of draw some pictures of where everything will happen on that map. So if you haven't been on the website, we have some calendars on the website. And you just go, it's in that upper right corner. It says Campminder login. When you go to teamsummit.org, it's right next to the Campminder login. It says calendars. You click on that calendar, you get a whole bunch of different calendars. So this group actually has its own calendar, and we share it with the skiers. So you're going to see, skier days are going to say like 8:30 to 3:30 or something. We're going to be the 9 to 2:30 group. To be honest, I'm not sure why the skiers want to start so early. We've done some of that in the past, and what we found out is the kids just show up really tired. We take a run and we go inside for like 30 minutes to warm up. So starting a little later has proven to be just a much higher quality time and a more fun day, and that's why we do it. I would imagine the skiers will catch on to that someday, but for now their calendar will look a little different than ours. And so once you go into the calendars, you're going to see something that looks like this, and this is one of those part-time comp calendars that you're looking at here from a few years ago. They haven't really changed much. They kind of look like this still now. One of the things that we're required to do as coaches is Colorado state law. It's called the Jake Snakenberg Act. We're required to have a little bit of concussion training. The bottom line here is when we're not sure if a kid is having some head issues, we have to sit them out. It is the law, and it's the smart thing to do. So when in doubt, we're going to pull them out. And this does create some controversy every once in a while, and can be a tough thing, but it's, the coaches, me, everyone involved with Team Summit is really here just to make sure that the kids are safe and the kids have a good season, and this is just one of the things that we have to do for them. We also have an athletic trainer that is on snow with us a decent amount of time, and she is a medical professional. So when we can consult her about the injury, she can give us a little more insight and maybe take away some of that doubt, so if she can take away some of that doubt, they can keep going. And so that's a really cool thing that we're able to do. And it doesn't pop up too much with this group. It does pop up as the kids get older and get into some of those different groups. But when we pull the kid out, they will need, a note from a medical professional saying they can come back. And that's typically like a doctor or a PT. I know a lot of people will try and go to a chiropractor and get that done, but that actually doesn't satisfy the requirements of the law. So it has to be, it has to be that certain medical professional, like doctor or a physical therapist type person. Another thing that our national governing bodies sort of put on us, and it's for the kids, keep the kids safe, is this thing called Safe Sport. What Safe Sport is they have this thing, we call it the MAP, and MAP stands for the Minor Athlete Abuse and Prevention Policy. This Safe Sport stuff has been around for a while, but it really ramped up after the U.S. gymnastics and Larry Nassar incidents. And so since we are part of the Olympic pathway, this is another law that we have to follow, as we have rules imposed on us by Safe Sport. The biggest thing that parents can do to help us is we are not allowed to have any one-on-one communication with kids. And that means text messages, emails, and like social media stuff. If we're commenting on a kid's post and it's public for everyone to see, that's okay. That's not one-on-one. That's observable by many people. So when an interaction is observable and interruptible, that's not considered a one-on-one situation. So we have to avoid situations that are not observable or interruptible. So if a kid's sending a coach a text, have them text you and the coach. I have an 11-year-old son, and I encourage him to communicate with his coach and try and take some responsibility for his own schedule and stuff. I want him doing those things. And I'm sure some of you guys do too. So they need to text, an adult and the coach to get the answers that they're looking for. And that's a huge thing you guys can do to help us out there. Little COVID update. Kind of exciting. This slide was like 4 slides last year and ate up a bunch of time. This year we're down to 1 slide and 3 sentences, maybe not even complete sentences here. And I don't think much of this is going to affect this group because we don't really use the gym or the vans in this group, and nobody's really going to do overnight travel. So not a big deal with this group. Outside of these points, we just follow the resort's guidelines. So whatever the rules are at the resort is basically the code policy with this group right now. So as the kids take that next step, we start doing this thing called USASA. Again, this is for future use, and I'm just going to kind of skim through this. But USASA is the national governing body, and Rocky Mountain Series is the local group that implements the USASA structure. And we train in pipe, slope, border cross, and rail jam with that group. This group also does GS and slalom, but we don't participate in those events. It's extremely difficult for us to get space to practice GS and slalom. We're kind of rare in that respect. The things that we do have is we have great cross training and great pipe training, which pretty much nobody else has. So we participate in those other things, and we do leave out the GS and the slalom. That being said, the kids in this program will get a little time doing some GS and slalom. They'll do the summit cuts. So USASA is more for like next year, future years. The stuff that these kids are gonna get to participate in is called summit cups, and it's probably the friendliest way to get started with some contests in snowboarding. And we do 1 contest at each mountain. A lot of these events are run by you guys, the parents. So it's all volunteer run. It's totally free. And the kids will get free lift tickets when we go to a mountain that they don't have a pass for, right? If the kids have friends, the friends can come, the friends can do the contest for free, the friends can hang out with a coach for the event. It's not necessarily a coach for the day, but it's a coach for the event. And so it's just a great way to get introduced to these things. And hopefully the kids have a lot of fun kind of showing off for everybody on their own little stage. So the first Summit Cup is January 23rd at Keystone. And then February, we have 2 of them going on, and these happen on Sundays. So they're not mandatory, but it's something that these kids are totally welcome to do. February, we have 2 of them. We do a big mountain and a moguls at a basin. And then Breckenridge, it's kind of an obstacle course. It's another racing type event. And then we have a mini pipe and a mini slope at Copper Mountain on March 13th. That one's really fun. Copper has by far and away the most progressive sort of park features out there. It's extremely friendly pipe and extremely friendly little jumps and boxes and a really great venue. So getting in to some of the rules of snowboarding, our rules are quite open. Our rules, the rules that are like very clear, leave a lot of room for snowboarding to be quite open-ended. So basic rules, and this is like all events up to like the Olympics. Your helmet has to be buckled. If your helmet comes off, you're disqualified. In big mountain events, the kids have to have back protectors, and they're also not allowed to go upside down until they're 18. For good reason. Those are kind of uncontrolled scenarios. They're jumping off rocks, they're jumping off cornices, they're not landing in a manicured environment. It's a natural environment, so you don't know what's hiding under the snow. A little different than our slope style setups. You have to stay in the course. If you leave the course, you're disqualified. And that's for all events, racing and freestyle. And your board has to stay attached. And that's not even attached to both feet. It's attached to like 1 foot even. So that leaves a lot of room for our sport to be very creative, which is, what a lot of us who have been doing this for a long time consider to be the fun part of snowboarding is the creativity. And so we have this sort of system, and we call it the jam system. So the J is just beginning, and the A is you almost have it. And then the M is mastered, any feature, anything, anytime, anywhere. And so once you've mastered it, you can jam it. And it's everything. It's, foundational skills. So how you make a turn, what your stance looks like, how you can change your body movements, into freestyle skills, pipe skills, park features, and just how you manage terrain, like in the big mountain environment. So a lot of these things are a little bit techy, and it's written in what I would call coach language. So for example, under big mountain skills, there's a down on weight / retraction to change edges and groom terrain. There's a lot of concepts in there that a lot of instructors don't even really understand between unweight and retraction and the body movements necessary to do those things. But snowboarding is very open-ended. And I just want to show you guys this because we do have a framework to create important skills. And when we're creating these important skills, the way I look at it is we're putting lots of colors on the kids' sort of palettes. And then when they go out and they get into these contests, or they want to start achieving things, they have lots of colors to pull from, and they can paint their canvases however they want. And I believe that that's sort of the philosophy that has led to the success in snowboarding, especially the success of snowboarding in this country. Our jam sheets are based off of these principles from our main national governing body, and that's US Ski and Snowboard. So they have these training processes, and they're outlined, as you can see, across the top: chronological age, for kids 2 years old all the way into adulthood. And they cover pretty much everything from physical conditioning, in-season training, off-season training, venue-specific training, free ride training, playtime with family. Like, it's all laid out. So we design our programs and our jam sheets, and a lot of our processes do come from this info from our national governing bodies. So, the important thing, and it's the bottom of our core values, is family. And we want parents to help. Kids will tell parents things that they don't necessarily tell coaches, and vice versa. So the relationship is really, parent, coach, and athlete, kind of all communicating together in a triangle. So there are extremely important ways that parents can help. I mean, you spend way more time with your kids than the coaches do. And the best thing that parents can do, and they can start doing from a young age, is working on this mental training. I've been taking a class, and it's had lots of really cool people show up. And one of the quotes that came out of this class was from Travis Rice. And he says, luck favors the prepared. He's someone asked like how he gets so lucky, throughout his career with all the different things. And this is how he responded. He's like, I don't know if I do get lucky. Luck favors the prepared. He thinks about things, and his mental game is probably one of the craziest I've ever heard. A lot of people will look at him as fearless, and he's like, fearless is not sustainable. Like, he has fear, and he manages it in many different ways, which we'll go through here. The bottom line with a lot of these is we want the kids to foster a growth mindset. And the biggest one is, or the first one is encouraging positive talk in your kids. And it's not just the words that come out of their mouth, but the thoughts that are going on inside their heads. My favorite mantra for positive talk is don't say don't and can't say can't. And you may hear me say that a lot throughout the years. Hopefully, I think all the kids on the team now have heard me say that a lot. Because every time they say I can't do that, I say it a different way. You don't say don't, and you can't say can't. And if that's something I encourage like everyone to kind of think about as they go throughout their day, whenever they say don't touch that, is there another way we could say that? Will that change the thoughts going on in our heads? And the reason we sort of go through this stuff is positive talk doesn't guarantee good performance. Kids are still going to have bad days. They're still going to get beat. But negative talk guarantees poor performance. When the pressure is on, the thoughts that are going through those kids' head, that pressure is a catalyst for what's going to happen. So if there's negative thoughts in there, that pressure will just bring them to life. And it makes not even contest, but new tricks, the fear of trying a new trick, like that negative catalyst will come to life. This is what I would consider probably the most important one, is praise your child for their effort more than the result. And it goes back to those processes and teaching them about process. When my favorite, probably the best example, because we see it 100 times a year, a kid does their first 360 and you say, oh man, that was awesome. How did you do that? And they're like, I don't know. I just did it, and so they've forgotten about the process and all the effort that went in to that process at that point. So they've forgotten about, the carving and the edge work and the stance and balance drills and the riding switch and practicing, the different types of jumping, different types of takeoffs. Those are all the things that ultimately contribute to that result of a 360. And so when you praise them for the effort, they're more likely to take on the next challenge as well. They're like, oh, that was sweet. Now I have the roadmap to take on the next challenge. I've left breadcrumbs for my future of how to get to that next spot and the next spot and the next spot. And this is so important because what happens as the kids go on snowboarding, those challenges don't get easier. They get much, much harder. Eventually, pretty much everyone reaches a point where they are not on the podium all the time. They may be on the podium a lot as a little kid. They're going to reach a point where they're not on the podium way more than they ever are on the podium. So it's like, why would they keep doing it? Why do they keep doing it? And the answer is because they love it, and this is a big part of creating that love. The second thing that parents can do in this same realm here is just tell them you love to watch them ride, whether it's a good day or a bad day. Just tell them, man, I know that was a tough day and I loved watching you do it anyway. I love watching the work that you put into this sport. It's really fun to watch. And that statistically, that is like the best thing parents can say to their kids when it comes to, confronting bigger challenges and taking on the next step. The third one that parents can help with is just remembering that snowboarding is fun. I mean, something like snowboarding and the stress of travel and the cost associated with a lot of this, if it's not fun, like why, I don't know why you'd continue to do it. Like it has to be fun and the kids have to be having fun. We do recognize that fun changes throughout the kid's career, so in this program right now, the fun stage that we're in the snowboarding is fun. So like if the kids are out snowboarding and they're having fun, it's really not wrong. It's totally right. As they, progress through the programs, maybe going into 101, the training becomes fun. It's like, hey man, I had a blast snowboarding this year and I just want to get better next year, so now the training has gotten fun because they want to get better. They move into that 201 program. Probably the number one thing we hear is I want to qualify for USASA nationals. And that is just a clear sign that the competing has gotten fun. And then moving on from that, and some kids don't ever even get to this next phase, is the winning is fun. And I think a different way to say this would be achieving is fun. Because there's plenty of snowboarders that drop out of the competitive realm, but continue to push themselves and continue to develop skills and are fantastic snowboarders and extremely fun to watch. And they go, what some people would call like the marketing route of snowboarding, where they're making videos, maybe they're in commercials, but they're still having a career. They're still making money from their sponsorships and very much in the limelight or in the spotlight, if not even more so than competing. So I like to say that achieving is fun, and they're working every bit as hard as anyone to gain new skills, learn new tricks, get cool shots, whatever. Some people get there, some people don't. Some people get there 13, 14 years old. Some people just kind of go back to snowboarding is fun. In our mind, it's all good. It's all good. If we're snowboarding, we're learning a lot of these lessons that we talked about. It's totally fine. I think one of the things that's tough a lot of times for parents in this realm is, if you played a sport at a high level or whatever, you probably left that level at winning is fun. And it's often hard to remember how you got there, how just playing was fun and getting better was fun and competing was fun. So we have to recognize this process of fun in our kids snowboarding as well. So we've talked a lot about what parents can do. Again, I want to encourage you guys to have good communication with your coaches and good communication with your kids. Help get them there on time, helps the whole group out. And then we do ask that you guys observe training from the sidelines. It's not that we don't want you to watch, but when you're up in there and part of the group, your kids act different. And it's a little bit distracting to some of the other kids in the group. So like, you can watch, that's great, but like watch from the other side of the hill. Watch from a distance, where you can let your kid be themselves and the other kids in the group aren't being distracted by your presence. And please cheer your kid on. Tell them it's fun to watch them. Tell them go, go, go. And that's fantastic. The kids, it's not just the parents' job to get there on time. There's plenty of things that kids can do to help you get them there on time. The ideal situation is the kids are getting out of bed and waking the parents up and saying, "Hey, let's go. It's time to go snowboarding." Like that is a situation that we absolutely like to hear. We want the kids listening to their coaches and applying the feedback. This group will probably send out some goal sheets to this group. They can start getting a feel for those goal sheets and focusing on their daily goals. One of the things that is really important, especially as the kids continue on, is that they're just respectful. They are respectful people when they're on the hill. I talk to a lot of people. I talk to agents. I talk to old pros, current pros, whatever. And there are so many kids who are talented snowboarders right now. There's so many kids. You see a nice day and the number of kids who can do doubles in the park and doubles in the pipe and like huge tricks in the backcountry, whatever, it's amazing. It blows my mind, the number of kids that have these skills. There's so many good kids that there's really not enough, spots in the professional world for all of them. So like being a good snowboarder is only part of the game. It's only one piece of the puzzle. Being a respectful person will take them even further than just being a good snowboarder. So that respect for the other kids in Team Summit, respect for the mountain employees, we have a phrase where we say like real snowboarders bust their own tables. And I think all those things are true. Just having lots of respect for the environment and everything going on out there is super important. And it should start early. It should start in this program. Coaches have responsibilities as well. We want parents communicating with coaches and their kids, and coaches need to be communicating with the kids and the parents. And so that communication with your coach, that's probably your number one place to go. We have almost 90 kids in the snowboard program this year. So communication with me is actually not as good as communication with your coach. I am certainly want to help as best I can. But as soon as you meet your coach and you're trading information and stuff like that, going to Keith and going to your coach is going to be your best bet for most things. Coaches, their number one responsibility is to keep our training safe, and number two is to have fun. We do those things, and the kids are going to get better, and the kids are going to gain confidence and feel really good about themselves. So we do all these things that we've talked about in this video, and losing really isn't an option. We say that a kid loses when they let the moment or the person or the group kind of make them feel smaller than they really are. And we don't want to do that. We may get beat. Getting beat isn't that big a deal. Our effort is more important than the results we get, for sure, forever, all the way until we decide to stop snowboarding. That is going to be true, that the effort we put in is what makes skills, not results. And so we may get beat, and that's not a big deal, but people are going to have to beat our best, and that's the bottom line. So if we stick to these values and our proven processes, we really don't think that we can lose. We will never lose if we do those things. So at this time, I would just like to, I guess we got a few questions in there. Keith, can you read me those questions that we have in the chat?
What is losing? Underperforming because you shrink from the moment. We bring our best. If we are going to get beat, they will need to beat us.
Sorry, Keith. No, there's questions in the chat. I don't know if you saw those there.
I see volunteer opportunities for Summit Cup. Check the volunteer section of Camp Minder.
Gotcha. Lily was helping out. Thanks,
yeah,
Lily. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate that, Lily. So Lily put a few links in there that are great, and I definitely appreciate that. So for parking, does anyone else have any questions? You can feel free to type them in the chat, or you can go ahead and ask at this time as well. Cool. Quick update on the passes, and maybe Lily will chime in here, but
nothing.
Sorry, Maddie, did you ask me a question? I had someone come in the office.
He was asking about passes that are available.
So for season passes for Copper Mountain, I sent out an email yesterday evening. So if you have not filled out the survey I sent out and you would like a Copper Mountain season pass, they're discounted for Team Summit athletes, whether or not you are have chosen Copper Mountain as your home mountain. You are eligible to receive a discounted pass of $149 for Intro to Team Summit snowboarders. So all you need to do is complete that survey. That'll get you on the list so that I can send the Copper to get a voucher number, which you will then take to Copper Mountain to pick up the season pass at $149. And then for the Epic passes, they're actually not Epic passes, but all Team Summit athletes are eligible for a discounted pass from Vail Resorts, which gives unlimited Keystone and Breckenridge access. We do not have the pricing for that yet. We expect it. We've been waiting for it for a couple weeks now. So that last year for ages 5 to 13, I believe it was $295. So we expect it to be less this season. but we don't have the pricing. If you're itching to get out there, we'll get it before the program starts so that you can get your voucher and pick those up if you're interested. But if you're itching to get out there before December 4th, then you can go ahead and purchase a full priced pass. And then when the vouchers come in for the discounted Team Summit passes, then you can exchange them and they'll refund you the difference.
No, thanks, Lily. My phone actually went into like safe driving mode when my wife went and started her car. No, I appreciate that info. That's great. Any other questions here before we close out? Oh, I see. Will they get to watch some of the Dew Tour next month on their Saturday practice for the Copper group? Definitely. So we have athletes in the Dew Tour. It's very exciting for us. And they'll even get to meet some of those athletes, I'm sure. So it's going to be a great time. Absolutely.
We got an icon already. How
Yep.
about Epic or Breckenridge?
Yeah, so they won't need that Breck pass in this group. Just all their training is going to be at Copper, and when we go to the other mountains for the Summit Cups, they'll get a free ticket for those days. So the Breck Keystone passes are not needed for this group. I do believe they'll still get a discount voucher if you wanted to get them one, but it's not necessary for this group. Yeah. Anything else? Right on. Well, this is just in time. My next little meeting starts at 11. So thank you, Keith. You guys can feel free to email myself, email Keith, and communicate any other questions that you guys have. And it looks like someone is also going to be out on the hill shredding today at Breck. If anyone wants to meet up with Merritt at Breck, start making friends. Pretty cool. Thank you, guys. If there's nothing else, I'm going to move on to the next meeting and close this one out. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.